So, what is digital citizenship? Digital citizenship, it's the responsible use of technology by anyone who uses computers, the internet, or any digital device to engage in society. So, therefore, we all know this is something that kids do a lot in school, especially with a lot of programs we have that have online portions. So, it's very important that we are teaching digital citizenship to our students. Um, a quote from Go Guardian stuck out to me when talking about that. It says, teaching digital literacy empowers students with skills and understanding necessary to use technology and the internet to their benefit. We need to make sure that there is a good purpose for us using the internet and that it's being used with intent and correctly. So we teach global citizenship. So shouldn't digital citizenship be just as important? When I was thinking about that, we've had a lot of shifts and a lot of focus on social emotional programs. And I recall that we used to do a lot more, I feel like, with online digital citizenship and teaching those skills. But I have not seen that happen in a while, and I'm not sure what's going on with that. Um, Too much screen time can be detrimental to a person's health. That's not just students, that's adults as well. And I think we all need to be conscious of that. We need to promote balance and well-being to promote healthy relationships with technology. So by that, what I mean is kids shouldn't just be going online, or for that matter, adults. They need to know what is happening when they put things out there. They need to be conscious of what they're putting out there and how it's affecting others. And to ensure E-rate funding. E-rate funding is something I did not know about, but I'll go into that in just a little bit. So ISAFE had these elements of digital citizenship and teaching digital citizenship. So I'm just going to leave these there for a second, and then I'm going to go over ones that I felt were directly affecting students most at this current time. Okay, so technology access. Everybody in my school, especially once they get to middle school, it's one-to-one device within our district. That is something we fought really hard for. However, what we do know is not everyone has internet at home. So we do need to acknowledge the digital divide. That especially happens within low income. And, we live in Midwest communities, especially where I live in Liberal. There's not a lot of choices, first of all, for internet. And our choices are not the greatest out here. So those are just things we need to think about when we're thinking about digital access for our students. Digital literacy and online etiquette. We need to teach empathy. Kids need to know how other people's feelings can be hurt and understand their own feelings so that they can become more of an empath as far as a person goes. So they need to understand there's a person on the other end of whatever they put out there. How is that going to affect that person when you send something or say something? How would you feel if you were that person? Kids also need to know that there is such things as fake news and fake information out there. It seems kids, and for that matter, there's a lot of adults, again, I believe if it's on the internet, it must be true. So we need to create better digital citizens so that they're able to weed through information and find stuff that they know is accurate. Privacy and security, we have to teach that to help navigate their online lives. So kids don't understand the fact that once you put something out there, it's really probably out there forever. They don't understand how easy it is for people to steal their information, and they don't understand the effects of information being stolen. So therefore, one of the things that I read that really resonated with me is the security of devices. A lot of kids will use their facial recognition, or they have different lock codes, and they think that that is really safe for them. I never thought about the fact that you could easily take a picture of someone, and facial recognition programs will recognize that picture sometimes. So that's something that we need to teach kids so that they're aware that their data needs to be kept private. Also, schools are required to certify that its internet policy includes monitoring online activities of minors and what is available to them so that we're making sure that they're not doing things inappropriate, especially while at school, and that hopefully predators are not getting to them. So for personal safety, Joseph had 5 questions that I think that are really, really relevant to this, and I feel that this is an extremely easy way to teach personal safety to kids. So, what impression are you giving? Do I really need that information out there? Am I oversharing? Would I want someone to share this fact or idea about me? And does it pass the newspaper test? Would you be okay if this was in the newspaper and your whole family and everyone that you knew saw it? So, again, for adults as well, it blows my mind what I see them putting out there. So just be mindful of what you're putting out there, because once it's out there, again, it can always be found. So moving on to E-rate funding. There was a lot of talk about E-rate funding, and I had no idea what that was. So Mendoza defined it pretty well. E-rate is a federal program from which schools and libraries can apply for money to purchase hardware, internet access, and telecommunications for student learning opportunities. So E-rate has 3 categories for their eligible services. Category 1 is data transmission services and internet access. So just having those things, the servers and things like that that you need, having an internet provider, those services you can get funds for that, and it usually is determined by the percentage of free lunch students within your district or school, depending on how your district applies for those funds. Category 2 is internal communications, managed internal broadband services, maintenance of internet connections, all those things that the district also needs in order to be able to have a huge internet running within our school. I mean, I know it's not. It just amazes me, even in a little country school, the broadband services and things like that are needed that I don't understand, but we do need them. So service funding for that depends on the school population or your library size, especially if the library applies for funds separately and it's a separate account. Category 3 is just miscellaneous. So those are fees and charges that are necessary components of the other 2 categories. So you can also apply for funds to help with those things in different ways. So there are some E-rate funding requirements. So schools must have an internet safety policy. That is something we looked at within our own schools, and we do have a pretty good internet safety policy as far as I'm concerned at USD 480. We must teach digital literacy. Again, I'm not sure if that's happening at the higher levels, but I don't know that there is a digital literacy program taking place in the elementary schools. I frequently go into classes and talk to teachers, and that's not something that I've seen or heard about, so I really need to do some investigation into that. The Federal Communications Commission said this internet safety policy must also include monitoring the online activities of minors and must provide for educating minors about appropriate online behavior, including interacting with other individuals on social networking websites and in chat rooms, in cyberbullying awareness and response. So USD 480, I found board policy IIBG, which is the technology acceptable use guideline. Each of these are links, so you can click on them and they will go directly to our policies. Electronic communication use, hardware, software use, network security, monitoring, internet safety, and penalties of improper use are all sections within policy IIBG. There's also board policy IIBGD, which is the Children's Internet Protection Act. So SEPA, we've learned about that, and how our district follows SEPA. And then there's the board policy GAT, which is staff use of communication devices. So this gives you direct rules and regulations on what they want us to do as a staff. Again, all of these links here are hyperlinked and will take you directly to the policies. Personal wonderings after this. Again, do we get E-rate funds as our district? That's something that I'm going to look into. How do we get them? Are we meeting the SEPA requirements? I know we have a policy in place, but are we providing the education to the students? And if we are, how is that happening? So my conclusion statements, my standard correlation, digital citizenship's another professional practice that should be a norm. We should always be promoting this and modeling it for our students. And as an administrator, you're going to need to be able to explain this to your staff. And again, model the teaching of digital citizenship and the proper use of and your well-being personally when using digital devices and internet and online. I believe this assignment's relative to my learning because it gave me a better understanding of digital citizenship, different components I learned about, and the importance of it besides student understanding. I'd not heard of this E-rate before, so it gave me a lot to investigate within my district. For my reflection, there's so many things that I know about and have at least a basic understanding of. Sorry. But I know I'm going to need a whole lot. Every time I do these, I think I have a basic understanding of these things. And then I learn, man, there's so many more things that I'm going to need to learn. And like every job, it's just going to take a little while before I feel comfortable. However, I know I can do it and I can just put my mind to it. And I'm learning what I need to be successful, even though I feel like it's going to take a lot of time. So the references I used. And thanks for listening.